Pussy Poppin', you beautiful humans. My name is Ariane Andrew.
I'm Matt Dillon, and welcome to another Piping Hot episode of Sipping the Tea, where we what? We sip some tea, and I guess what?
Spill that tea. Oh, you left me hanging again today. I'm mad at you.
My bad. I gotta protect those vocal cords, honey. Vocal cords. Where's your little sidekick, Liddy?
She is having a slumber. Where's Mama?
Same deal, same deal. But we've got a pretty special guest today, so I think we'll be all right without the pups. And, you know, they might make some appearances throughout. To say that she's a multi-hyphenate is an understatement. You know her from your TV screens, author, designer, Jill of all trades, really. Kristen Doty, my love. Welcome to Sipping the Tea, girlfriend.
You guys are so sweet. I hate that I'm in this glass and not in a teacup.
It's okay. We'll spill some tea. I have water in here, so all good, girl. All good. So 2020 has been I'm going to say interesting year for everyone across the world. But, you know, we like to try to focus on the positives and bring out the positivity of what's happening. So what have been some positive takeaways that you've had during quarantine and just this experience with this interesting time of 2020?
I love that interesting. It's great. It's the way to go uphill into the end of 2020 and 2021, right?
Exactly.
Positive things. I mean, self-reflection for sure. I think we all, not even just me, but we've all had time to like sort of be alone with our thoughts. And that's something that I'm not great at. I'm a social butterfly. I always have been. So kind of, especially in the beginning of quarantine, really like being alone with me and getting to know me even more than I did after I wrote the book, you know, at the end of 2019. And my boyfriend, that's a great thing that came out of 2020.
We're gonna get to that. That's who I go.
Yeah. It is nice to actually, I really love this intro. It's nice to like remind yourself that it hasn't all been awful, you know, but like really learning things about yourself.
I think that perspective is key because, you know, you're in the position where you're in the public eye and everything that you do, unfortunately, is splashed and trashed and all of that nonsense. But I think the takeaway is the reflection. And I think you were pretty honest in that moment to say, I think a lot of people struggle with looking in and having that, you know, and being kind of, we're forced to look in because we're like, at the beginning, we were all locked in our houses and it's like, holy shit, life is changing rapidly. How did you kind of like, with yourself, how was that kind of getting through that moment for you, being like, all right, this is a reframe moment? Because you see the light that you're exuding now is like you've gone through it. So what was that process like to just be like, I'm me, and like kind of reintroduce yourself to Kristen?
Yeah, my dog's made barks, my boyfriend.
Bing, bing.
I'm like, dogs, right? Another awesome thing about 2020. Sorry, guys. 1 sec.
No, it's okay.
Thank you. He's going to walk them and get them all tired out. So yeah, with that, like I was actually in Mexico right before quarantine started with Alex, my boyfriend. I was taken on a vacay. So that was another positive part of 2020. And then when I came back, you know, the world had inevitably changed incredibly. And so, you know, being with him 24/7 when we hadn't been dating that long was really interesting, but for me, a really positive experience. But yeah, truly just like sort of sitting alone with myself and just being like, okay, well, I can't see my friends right now. I can't travel to see my family, which is really difficult, but like, what can I do? I can start journaling and I can like fix things around my house. And I can, honestly, this is when I think a really positive thing about social media is that we were all able to still connect. You know, you can still connect with friends, family, even strangers, make new friends, and learn a whole lot about what other people are experiencing in other parts of the world or other parts of our country. And I think, I'll just speak for myself, but I think those were things that I don't want to say I was blind to, but like I wasn't paying enough attention. I was kind of in a bubble of Kristen for a little bit, especially, you know, when I was on Vanderpump Rules, and that is a really easy way to snatch yourself out of that bubble and open your eyes up to the real world.
That's so true. Yeah, and it's such a good perspective. Kind of like what you were saying. I think 2020 has given a time for everyone to just slow down and actually appreciate the things we used to take for granted. You know, just like you said, having your boyfriend and being able to do a vacation, you know, like the little things that wouldn't matter is like, wow, it's more of like a sentimental moment. Which gets me to the question of how have friendships been during this time, and how important has that been for you through this 2020 experience?
Oh my God. I mean, I feel like I'm nothing without my friends, especially in Los Angeles. My family lives back in Michigan, and, you know, I don't get to see them very often, especially during quarantine. So my friends are my family. And like we said in the beginning, at the beginning of quarantine, it was really hard because we were kind of all separated just for the safety of ourselves and others. But now that we've kind of developed these, what I like to call it, quaranteams, you know, where it's like, okay, you're safe, you're safe, you're safe. We can all be together and have like fun game nights and things like that. I am very happily and positively dependent, like, on my friendships during this time. I think we all really, really lean on each other. And there's a lot of like big momentous things happening, you know, in my friend group specifically. So it's really nice to have them around.
I like that. I don't know whether I'll spill some tea on my end because I am moving to Miami. I'm currently in Miami, but I live in 753 North Kings, honey. So I know your friend group very well.
You do not.
I do. Level 1, honey.
How would you put in the address out there? People...
They're all gone anyway, and I'm leaving too. So who cares?
Have you been there the whole time?
I was there. I moved in and I met Jax. I met Brittany sitting by the pool. And then I was like, oh, everybody lived. Tom's there. Everyone's there.
Yeah.
It was
I
interesting.
feel like I lived at that apartment more than I lived at my own apartment.
The hallways. I was like, this is, very interesting. Very interesting.
Hysterical.
It's like the pass-by apartments.
Good old Kings Road. It's like where we were living and where part of us died, for sure.
Small world, always a small world.
That's so funny.
Sure. I want to talk fashion because I know that James May wasn't something that's been born in COVID. It's something that you've been working consistently at. But this new inception and the biracial artists and all of these factors that are coming into this, take us through that because I think you're tapping into, you know, acknowledging society and what is happening in the world outside of COVID with the racial injustice and all of that movement. But it's, you know, I wanted to preface saying that this idea and this, you being a designer, is not something that just popped. You've consistently been at this. So I wanted to give you that. But take us through what this inception now, because I think it's pretty cool. And the line is something that's accessible to people. So it's like you're doing something, you found a niche and like driving that home. And I love that.
Thank you so much. Yeah, we definitely like to keep our, you know, our quality high and our price points low. It's something we really love about our brand, first and foremost. But in the beginning of quarantine, actually, the craziest part was we've always been a really small business, a really small brand, but we did have some people working for us. And that was a big shock when we no longer had an office downtown LA and we no longer were able to like be working with employees. And so my partner, Megan, and I took everything to my back home office, which in the beginning was kind of terrifying, you know, moving all the inventory and like, do we have enough room? And like, are we going to be able to pull this off, just the two of us? And it was such a blessing in disguise because we got to be even more hands-on, specifically like packing orders, you know, more than we even were. And we have time to really think about where do we want this brand to go? What is really important to us? And, you know, charities and giving back has always been something since 2018 when we started the brand that's been important to us. But obviously since, you know, everything that's happened with the Black Lives Matter movement, we find extremely important. And Taryn, who is the graphic artist who did our Peaceful Protest collection, is a really good friend of Megan, my partner's from back in Tulsa, Oklahoma. I've always loved her art. I always loved her graphic design. And we were really looking for someone that we could, you know, pay it forward, where we're like paying her to do it, but also celebrating her art. She did some amazing murals in Tulsa for Juneteenth. So it was just like a no-brainer for us. And the best thing about Taryn is that her entire message surrounding all of her art is spreading love and spreading positivity. So it was just so easy to say, Taryn, like, these are the ideas we have, but like, girl, run with it. Give us like 4 or 5 designs, and there's not going to be a lot of conversation. We want this to be about, you know, your experience and what you want to convey to the world as well. So it all just kind of came to fruition, and, you know, we're really excited that we're working with Watts Empowerment Center and Black Fashion World and giving back to them as well and highlighting them, because I just think that for Watts, it was really important for us to like connect on a local level, because something I've really learned during quarantine more than I had realized in the past is like, work locally and think globally. Like if you start at home, you know what I mean? Like you start at home, start where you're from, start where you live, and kind of spread that outward. So yeah, that was just something we were really excited about. And then working with Black Fashion World, you know, Black women entrepreneurs and women in fashion, and just giving back to them and giving them as many opportunities as we can as a very small business.
I love that. Small business, but you have a big platform. So you're on the money, girl. You're on the money.
Thank you.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, what you're doing is so dope. So girl, keep doing your thing, and kudos to you, because you killing it, girl.
Thank you, love.
You know, there's not many people who are able to like go from being on TV to being like a boss babe and an entrepreneur. And what would be like some advice you would give to like a young woman who's trying to start off, and whether it's like clothing or something like that, like what would be some advice you would give to, you know, say like, you got this? Because it's a very hard thing to do, to be an entrepreneur. People think it's easy, but there's a lot of work that goes into it. So what would be some advice that you would give?
I mean, it's really just about your work ethic and not giving up, because there's a million other people. I used to say this about like girls that wanted to be actresses when I was fresh into the acting industry, or, you know, even living in LA, and people are like, I want to pursue my dream in Los Angeles. And the same thing I feel with Megan and I starting James Made. Like, I know that I'm very lucky and very fortunate that I had a platform to push James Made sort of onto, you know, the people that were watching the show. And I'm grateful for that, but you don't need any of that. My favorite TV show in the entire world is Shark Tank. I watch it all day, every day. I've seen every single episode 40 million times. And you don't need a lot of money to start an idea or a brand. Like, you can ask for help. You just have to not give up if you know this is something that you truly believe in. And it sounds so dumb and so cliche, but it's the people that give up that don't make it. So we all are going to run into like hurdles, but just do it. Like, you can do it in any way, shape, or form. If you have to go door to door, you know, whatever it is, it's possible.
We say that all the time. I think that work ethic trumps all. And it's like, the TV thing was great. It doesn't denote the fact that you had to bust your ass to actually get this off the ground. That was just a little push for you. So it's like,
yeah, it was definitely helpful. I'm not saying that I'm not like lucky and fortunate for that, but you know, it doesn't just make a clothing line happen. And you know, we really want to stand out as a brand beyond Kristen from Vanderpump Rules. We want to stand out as our own fashion brand.
I think that's so important, though, that you said that you're like, yes, I had the platform, which is helpful, but it does go to work ethic. Because I mean, how many people do you see who branch off to go do stuff and it doesn't pop off just because they have a platform? Doesn't mean anything. Work ethic is so true, because work ethic. You have
to, you guys know, even with, you know, your show, it's like you have to work morning, noon, and night at this. You have to think of ideas way ahead of time. It's not just a moment to moment sort of a thing. Like, well, what do we do next? It's like, no, what's going to happen in 6 months, and how do we get to that point? What does our weekly meeting look like? What does our monthly meeting look like? What do we want for ourselves at the end of the year? How much do we want to bring in, and how do we make that happen?
Girl, we're gonna hire you to do that. I was like, because Ariane's full-time job is a wrestler and I'm a publicist like Steve. So it's like a whole, this work ethic, it's hard work. But I want to talk love. Yes. I want to talk your journey, because watching you on the show, the one great thing that I've always loved is that there's people that do those kind of shows that kind of edit who they are and what they do, and they don't give the reality in the reality. Mm-hmm. You would never want to hold back in giving your full reality. The good, the bad, the ugly, the whole damn lot of it. And that involves the journey to finding your man now, I believe. So take us through, because we read a little article and I wanted to get your vibe on it, because I actually believe in it too, when meeting somebody, that you're in no hurry to get married, you're in no hurry, you just want to kind of be in the moment. Take us through that decision, I guess, to to put that out there even, because it's like people are aghast. She doesn't want to get married. What, you know, that's.
I mean, of course. I mean, actually, before Alex, I really was, when I was actually writing the book, I was in a really, not weird, but like interesting place where I was like, okay, I've gone through all these relationships. You know, my last one, as people that watch the show know, with Carter, was like 4-year relationship in my mid 30s, like thought that was the one. That didn't pan out. So like, do you give up? Do you stay single? Do you make these crazy decisions? And at first I was that person that was like, I'm going to be single for a year. I have to be single to like find myself in order to find the person. And no, just kind of let go and let live, you know, just see what happens. And yeah, so with Alex, we have been friends for about 4 years, like buddies, didn't know each other super well, but like buddies in the same friend group. Like Katie and Tom Schwartz are very good friends with him as well. And it was just a random night where we were both single and somehow flirting happened, and it just, our stars aligned, I feel like. And it worked, and it was fun. And I definitely pushed back. And that we started dating or started seeing each other when I was writing my book, and he's in a few chapters. And at first I just said like, no, like friends with benefits. This is what we're good at. I'm in the middle of so much right now, blah, blah, blah. But like, that's not how life works. So as far as, you know, now we've been together, you know, I'd say like 6 months seriously dating and dating since like around November. I wouldn't be dating him if I didn't think he was the one, or if I didn't feel confident in that. But, you know, just because all of my friends are engaged, married, pregnant, ready to have families.
Yes.
Is there a little bit of pressure? Of course, but it'll happen for us when it's right to happen. And that would be the dumbest reason to jump the gun.
That is a big tick for you, because that would be a lot of pressure to be like that, but you do you, babes. And
I'm not, you know, I'm not holding it against, you know, I'm not holding Alex to the fact that he swears we'll be engaged before 2020 is over. I would rather wait till 2021 because I've had enough in 2020.
I feel you.
Fair enough.
Yes. But what I love and how you keep it so candid and open is because there is so much fucking pressure with society about how you have to do this at a certain time, and especially being a woman, you know, and a successful woman, where it's like, well, why haven't these, you know, check marks been done? And it's like, you're like, no, I'm going at my pace and I'm rocking to the beat of my own drum. So girl, kudos to you.
You get it.
Yes. Trust me, I'm about to be 33 years young, and I'm just like, you know, if it's meant to happen, it will. And if it doesn't, no one's going to force me to do anything that I'm not ready for. So.
It'll happen in its right time. 33 sexier. I like it.
Yes.
Look at the therapy session.
Right? Woo.
Women empowerment.
Exactly.
Go the gays. Come on now.
So, you know, talking about love and everything like that, you girl, Jill of all trades, and you have your book. I want to make sure I get this right. He is Making You Crazy.
Oh yeah.
Walk us through the process and where that all kind of stemmed from with coming out with a book.
And congratulations on that, because that's a good thing to have. Tick that off your butt. Right?
It's my biggest accomplishment. It's the one thing I'm the most proud of in my entire life that I've done. And although our release date wasn't the greatest time maybe for a book to come out, I just remind myself every day that a book lives forever. This book will always be here. Michelle and I, my partner, Michelle Alexander, we really hope, and our hope before we even wrote it was to adapt it one day. So that's something that, you know, we have time for. Well, I have time for in quarantine, is to be working on adapting the book. But we started the book really because, you know, Michelle had written How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. It was very successful. She's a very good friend of mine. She's kind of like an older sister to me. And when we started talking about all of my dating history, which is essentially what the book is, you know, it's pretty specific to my dating history, but all of my stories were Michelle's stories. And all of her stories were my other girlfriend's stories, or my sister's stories, my mom's stories. I mean, I dedicated this book to my mom because I'm like, my mom is what my mom and her friends had been through in, you know, 20, 30 years ago. It's the same thing. We all go through it in a different way. And I just wanted to like let everyone have a little laugh. You know, it's very tongue in cheek. I laugh at myself. You know, I make fun of the guys that are in the book who all shall remain nameless. But yeah, it's just like a really fun, funny way, but for us also to like teach people things and let other women know, like, you're not alone in this, and get out of these toxic relationships. Also, own your own shit, like own what you have done. And when you see these red flags that you've gone through, don't try not to make that mistake again. Just really open your eyes, know your self-worth. And yeah, it's just kind of like a fun thing for us to do. And we've had some amazing, you know, a lot of, it's kind of like Vanderpump Rules, like writing a book like that and then having all these women come forward on social media and say like, oh my God, this chapter, you know, reminded me of this and that helped me through that. And that is exactly what I wanted from this. It's very fulfilling.
Love that.
Thank you.
I love that. I love that you want to develop it into something, because I think that it did hit with the COVID stuff. So the meet and greets and all that craziness that you would do never got to eventuate. But I think there's a second coming of this, and 2021 is going to be a good one for sure.
I think so too. I want that for all of us, you guys. 2021 has to be our year.
Right? Ready for it.
What do you want 2021 to look like for you specifically? Do you want TV? You obviously want to get into, you know, producing. Where do you want to see yourself besides being happy? Because I think everybody wants to see you happy. Everybody's followed your journey for so long.
And I want, and I am happy, and I want everyone else to be happy. And I hope that people just start treating everyone with more kindness. I feel like that is the number one effing lesson that we can all learn from 2020 is like, I definitely went through a lot. I had really dark days at points, and I'm sure you guys had really tough times. And just remember, when you're walking down the street or you're on social media, that person, you don't know what that person went through today or yesterday or last week, and just be nice. It's really not that hard. And a smile or a hello or like a double tap on someone's Instagram could like maybe make their whole day. And I think if we're all just kinder, it like makes you smile, and then your day goes a little bit better. And then maybe you want to work a little bit harder, and then you feel like that person lifted your spirit. So you're in a much better mood to do more positive things, you know, with your life. But as far as like career wise, I mean, I think that's a huge part of it, because anytime someone smiles or gives me a compliment, you know, it just makes me feel happier. But yeah, I would love to adapt He's Making You Crazy. I'm an entertainer at heart. I would love to be back on TV. I don't know what genre or what platform that looks like right now. But I'm just going to be like, you know, keeping my eye out for open doors.
There's a lot of,
yes.
I like this. I like the fact that we can do this, and I get to see you outside that version of yourself that was on there. So it's nice to see that, because that's what I always said about the King's Road people. I was like, nothing like normal, great, wholesome, dope ass people. So it's nice to add to the Vanderpump Rules people that I know now and be like, yes, solid. You're a solid young lady with the world at your feet. For real, babes.
Yes.
For real.
And I love what you said about you don't know what other people are going through, and to be kind, because everyone's experiencing some type of like something in 2020. I'm gonna spill the tea. Matt knows I was about to have a moment before this is even happening, because literally everything right before this interview was like going wrong, and I was like, I'm about to lose my shit right now. So you just never know like what people are going through. And actually this interview was like so uplifting and had so much positive vibes. Like it just brought my spirits up.
Because of you though too, girl. That's why. Like your smile, your glow is like coming through this Zoom right now, you know?
But it's the energy, you know, and energy is a big thing, even though we're not all sitting together, but it's like you can feel the synergy that's happening with everything. So thank you, girl, I can't wait for everyone to see.
I hope your day like pumps up, your evening pumps up.
Appreciate
like do something for you. There was a full moon last night. I did not release my negative energy yet, because honestly, I fell asleep early watching Fixer Upper, because
nothing wrong with that.
Dax came over my boyfriend Alex's house. You know, we ate some tacos on Taco Tuesday and watched Fixer Upper. We had a wild night. So tonight I plan on writing down, you know, everything that I want to release and setting that piece of paper on fire, putting it to the moon, and being like, I'm done.
Love that. That's popping. Well, girl, go ahead and plug your socials, spill the tea where everybody can follow you at, follow your clothing line, get your book, the whole nine.
You can follow me on all platforms at Kristen Doty. You can follow James May at jamesmae.co. And my book is available for order on Amazon. He's Making You Crazy.
Yes. Where can everybody follow you at, Mr. Matt?
You can follow me at Matt Dillon 1983. And what about you, girl?
You guys can follow me across the board at Ariane Andrew and at Sippin' the Tea TV show across all platforms. And until next time, we will catch you guys on another episode of Sippin' the Tea, special edition of Quarantine.
Thank you, Kristen. Cheers.
Yes,